wife, you know? If anybody knows me, they know I don't meet strangers. Like everywhere I'm at, I just end up sitting around talking to random people, whether it be some old white guy that probably has nothing that we can share together, or it's a young cat that like the Baltimore Ravens like me. However, I don't meet strangers, and when I'm around somebody, I have this ability from somewhere in the universe to just kind of love them where they are, and for the majority of the time, people love me. But what I found is that in life you'll have lotion is one thing you'll have in life. Now I hadn't had it since the civil rights movement, obviously, but we'll work on that. We'll work on that. So in life you'll have a whole lot of different levels of relationship, and it's important to be able to kind of pick apart all those relationships, because if you don't, you'll kind of jumble them all together and everybody ends up on the same level in your life. And to be honest, that's a dangerous thing to have. And the reason I say that is because I was not a stranger to anybody, and because I could walk around and I could talk to anybody that I met. When I met my wife, yeah, I loved her differently, but I didn't treat her differently, because in my mind, or my subliminal mind, that part of your mind that you don't really think about, that part that's just operating all the time, she was kind of another person in that relationship circle, you know? And eventually what started happening is that she started to kind of get quiet and kind of pull away from me, and I started saying, Liz, you know, what's the business? Like, did I do something wrong or whatever? And she said, Alex, you don't treat me like a wife. And I sat back and I said, what do you mean? You know, and she started kind of explaining to me. I'm like, you know, we sleep in the same bed and we live in the same house and we talk about everything. And she said, you do that with everybody. I was like, sleep in the bed with everybody, girl. She was like, no, not that part, but everything else, yes. I was kind of doing the same thing that I was doing with my friend relationships in my wife relationship, and I didn't realize it. And so I had to kind of take a step back in my life and start learning some stuff. And I went and I found me some real old 50-year married couples, 25-year married couples, 35-year married couples. There's a guy, y'all probably know the store, the name of the store is Fred's now, but it used to be Badur's. Because I don't know how I met this guy. He's a multi-millionaire, but his name is Paul Badur, and he's the one who started Fred's. And so I met this guy some kind of way. I think I was at the Orchard Church or something like that. And I was like, you know, just talking to him. Didn't know who he was or whatever. And he was just saying, you know, you ought to come and sit down with me, because I had just got married at that point. And I was at church by myself. So that was kind of weird to him. So he was like, you need to come and sit down and talk to me sometime. I said, well, cool, whatever. So he invited me to his house. I went over his house or whatever and got there and looking around like, what am I doing in this big old mansion or whatever. He sat me down at the table and we just got to talking back and forth. And it was just, you know, like that feeling on the inside that, you know, this was really meant for me to have this moment with this guy, because he had been married, well, he has been married now for 54 years. He married his wife when he was like you, like right out of high school, and they've been together ever since then. He started a multi-million-dollar company, but he shared some things with me. Because while we were there, his son came in and was like, hey, Dad, and his son's probably 38, 39 years old. He was just like, hey, Dad, and he kind of walked through, and he said, hey, and he tried to say something. The boy just kind of kept walking or whatever. And he looked at me, and he said, you know, Alex, he said, in the midst of me building that multi-million-dollar company, I forgot about my son, you know? He had children at the house. And he was telling me, he was like, so what I don't want you to do is make the mistake of spending so much time with these kids and so much time doing what you're doing with your nonprofit and all that kind of stuff that you mess up your relationship with your wife. You were at church by yourself. Where was your wife? I was like, she was at church too. He was like, y'all was at different church? I was like, yeah. So he was like, y'all need to make that decision together. That's your wife. Because I was just that person trying to still be who I was before I got married. I was going to different churches. I was doing a lot of different communion with different churches because they were helping me with different parts of my program or whatever. And so ultimately what happened was he just kind of really put me in my place and said, like, you're really about to screw up your marriage, and I can see in the future you screwing up your children because you're spending so much time over here. These are not just your regular relationship friends that you got. This is going to be your family, Alex. And so I had to kind of step back and say, okay, I need to learn how to treat a wife, you know? I need to learn how to have a relationship with a wife. Because I've learned from my uncles and dads how to have a relationship with a woman, but I have to learn how to have one with a wife. Y'all feel me? Or am I losing somebody? You know, it's totally different. You know, I had girlfriends that was having a relationship with a woman, but now you got a wife, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to really step back and say, okay, God, you're going to have to teach me what I'm supposed to be doing for my wife. You know what I mean? And the sad part is, I used to teach this crap out the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Oh, love, you got to love your wife like Christ loved the church, and you got to love her according to the knowledge that you got. And I'm teaching this stuff to other folks, and they like, yeah, and they done got married, and they've been together 10 years, and here I go, my marriage on the line after 2 years. And I had all this knowledge up here, but it wasn't coming out simply because I had not realized that, hey, I got a whole different relationship I got to have right here. This is no longer one of them many friends that you got, Alex. This is your wife. This ain't your woman no more. This is your wife. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dang. So as I was learning from Paul Berdua, he was teaching me, and he was teaching me a whole lot about my organization and stuff like that, and how I need to get organized and quit being everything to everybody. Like, he was like, you're going to have to pull yourself out of some of that stuff. And that was the hardest thing, period. Because even pulling myself away from my friends, anybody that knows me knows that people just call me all day. I stick my little head things in my ear, and I'm just walking around the house. I'm laughing, I'm grinning. I done cleaned the whole house up. You know what I'm saying? But now my wife is there. I can't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? I can't just give all my time to all my friends and stuff like that. And I had to make her know that she was special. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, women kind of crazy though.
Y'all gotta listen. Go carry on.
I said that to be silly, but women are different. They're different. You know what I'm saying? They don't think like us, and I had to realize that. They don't think like a man. Because my thing was provide, make this money, make sure the bills paid, make sure the house is warm in the winter time and cool in the summer. Make sure there's food in the refrigerator, make sure, and then we adopted 2 kids. But it was like so much going on. And I was like, just make sure you provide and do this. And the whole time I'm doing all that stuff, but a wife, she needs this thing called time. And it was kind of confusing because I was like, we have plenty of time. I come home and get straight into bed with you after I shower. That ain't time. I'm like, how is that not time? That's a whole 8 hours we sleep. That's a whole 8 hours we together. And she like, that is not time. And I'm like, oh my God. So like everything had to start just changing. I had to start saying, I got to go home at 5 o'clock so I could sit down and talk to my wife. Because she just wanted to talk. And the reason I knew that she just wanted to talk is because 3 o'clock in the morning, she'll sit up in the bed like the Undertaker and then go to tapping me on my side, and I'll be like, honey, what you want? And she'd be like, did you eat some of the stuff I cooked? You woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning to ask me about, did I eat? Do I look hungry right now, baby? Do I look skinny? Has I lost weight while I was asleep? Like, what's going on? But anyway, it just showed me that it was so much that I didn't understand about relationships. You know what I mean? And like I said, the sad part was I was teaching this stuff. You know what I'm saying? My pastor, he would sit me down, he'd teach me, and I'm like a disciple. Like Jesus teaches disciples, so disciples, they go teach everybody else. That's how I was. So when my pastor fed me something, I went and I gave it to somebody else. That was me. And so I'm passing along all these messages and wasn't eating it myself. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to step back and say, Alex, you got to sit down and you got to eat. You got to eat what you're given. You know what I'm saying? And I had to realize that this is my wife now. This is a different type of relationship. Now we got these 2 kids with us, and I mean, they were, you know, bad situations, so we had to do what we had to do. And I'm thankful that she accepted that. But even now, I have to talk to her more and more. Say, honey, are you getting sick of them? Are they getting on your nerves? Because, you know, it was kind of my decision to do it, but she agreed. But again, I have to keep checking on her, because it is some days I can tell that she just really don't want to be bothered by these 2 teenagers that we got. But it's teaching me how to love somebody on the level that I'm supposed to be loving them on. And we all have to do that. We got to figure out where she at, you know what I'm saying? So we can, or where he at, so we can love them where they're supposed to be. Like I say, the dude that I met on a Carnival cruise sitting at the blues bar listening to music, that's a totally different relationship than me mentoring these kids. And then me mentoring these kids, that's a totally different relationship than me having a wife, you know what I'm saying? And so everybody needs to step back and just say, you know, I need to evaluate all my friendships, all my relationships. Because then I got a mom too. I was treating her like my wife. I was talking to grandma more than I was talking to my wife. I love my grandma, man. I'm serious. I don't know why. This little, my mom said, when she used to say, we're going to grandma's house in Mississippi, I used to sleep in the car the night before, ready to get to Mississippi. I love my grandma more than I love my mom. I don't know where it came from, but it's just there. And so, what just happened?
She loved her mama more than she loved me.
Sad. But that's the thing. Like I was treating my grandma like I was supposed to be treating my wife. Go out, sit down with her every day, talk to her, hug on her, kiss on my grandma. She had an aneurysm about 2 or 3 years ago, and it just instantly, like, she was the old lady. She's 89 now, but when she was 86, she was in the garden chopping with the hoe, you know, planting the garden and stuff, and all of a sudden she had the aneurysm, and it was on her aorta, so she doesn't get oxygen to her body anymore. So like now she walks from her bedroom to the living room, and she's just dog tired. So it's like every day I'm looking like, dang, I'm finna lose my grandma. And so I'm supposed to be loving my wife like I was scared I was gonna lose her too. You know what I'm saying? That's what God showed me, that you need to be showing that type of love to your wife. And I'm sitting there and I was like, well, God, but my grandma, He's like, okay, you can do that too, but make sure you're doing it for your wife. This is your help. And if you don't help her, eventually she's gonna stop helping you. Like, it's just gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? She ain't gonna do it on purpose. It's just gonna happen. So the men, we have our part to play. And brother, I appreciate you coming out, man. Dudes just don't come to stuff like this no more. I'm serious, man. I appreciate you coming out. Everything I ever went to, like talking about relationships, was a bunch of women and me sitting up in there. I was wondering if I was in the wrong place. Like, Lord, maybe I shouldn't have came, you know? But the reality woo! So check it out. The reality of the situation. We gotta love each other in the place that we're supposed to be loving. Like, me and her don't know each other, but we had this thing, you know what I'm saying? And we might still go down to Stardust Lake one weekend while y'all ain't looking, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, because we do stuff like that. I'm just saying. So like you build those relationships, you have everybody in their special place in those relationships, and you make sure what you giving them what they supposed to be getting at the place that they are in your life. And you make sure that you saying, God, what else am I supposed to be doing for those special ones? You know what I'm saying? Especially that marriage. Because that was the first institution of the church given by God, was marriage. He said, Adam, for this reason, you can leave your mama and daddy and cleave to her, stick to her, cling to her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I know it don't happen much these days. But when it do the right thing. Don't be an Alex. God bless y'all.
All righty, so now we have Miss Anjanette Curry. She will be speaking from a divorced lady's perspective that is dating again. Okay, she is a financial literacy and personal development coach in which she helps people mind their own business. Oh, okay. By providing, mind their own business.
That's right.
That's good. By providing workshops in financial literacy, credit repair, vision boards, and self-help empowerment. She is also currently employed with Itawamba Community College at the Early Childhood Academy as the Resource and Referral Associate. She has 5 children and 7 grandchildren. Her favorite book in the Bible is Proverbs, and she believes that aspiring to follow God's commandments and precepts will yield a happy and abundant life. Amen, sister. Come on up, Anjanette.
Hey
seat for a
everybody. I
moment.
don't know if I can come behind that right there. I'm gonna try. So, I've been divorced since 2005. It took me a minute to date again because that kind of broke me. I was always wanted to be the perfect wife. I went to church. I raised the kids. I cooked. I cleaned. I prayed. I anointed my family. You know, I did everything that I thought I could do. And so sometimes, and I wanted to say this, sometimes we marry, but they don't marry us. And so sometimes the marriage is out of obligation instead of what God's putting together. So I think my marriage at that time was out of obligation because he wasn't there. I lost my husband way before we even got divorced. So that kind of broke me because in the Bible, God says when you're married, it's forever. So for me, I felt like I did something wrong. And I wanted to know what was it about me that couldn't hold my husband. You know, what was it something about the way I looked? Was it something about the way that I dressed? Was it something, you know, I was laying down to sex? Was it, you know, I wanted to know. So I got bitter. And during that stage, that bitterness stage, I couldn't even look at a man. Couldn't hold a conversation. Anytime a man would look at me in my eye, I'll hold my head down and I'll keep walking. Because I was hurt. And I couldn't understand me. I did everything right. What was it, God? I got mad at God. So I stopped going to church, moved out of town, left my family, and it was just me and my kids. I poured myself in my children because they was there. I received the love. Mama can't do nothing wrong. So through the years, after a while, you don't know what to say to a man, and you know, man walk up to you, throw game, and you looking at him like, what? You know, but he trying to initiate something, and I'm looking at him like, I don't get it, you know. So there were several guys trying to talk to me. We developed friendships, but I never attached. I couldn't attach because I felt like if I attach myself to a man, I'm gonna break again, or he's gonna find something in me that he's not gonna like, or you know, I won't be this perfect woman. So after a while, you know, I had to go to God. And I broke down one night because I was hurt and I wanted to be in a relationship, but I just didn't know how to start. I didn't know, I wanted the right guy. I didn't want just anybody coming to me, and I didn't want to date just anybody because I had kids. I had 2 girls, so I wanted to be respected, and I wanted my girls to be respected, and I didn't want to be in a relationship where I couldn't trust a man with my girls. So I went to God and I prayed, and I asked, you know, I did my vision board, and I created this man that I wanted to have, and, you know, wrote my list down. Y'all know about the list, you probably know, but we got a list.
Amen.
I wrote my list, you know, and so the man came. Everything on the list that I had, you know, everything that I asked for. And the one thing that I asked for to let me know that this was the man for me, and I posted this on Facebook. I don't know if this, like, So he would kiss me on my forehead. So the guy that I met, we talked like 3 days, and the third day, before he left, he kissed me on my forehead. So I'm thinking, oh, that's him, you know, this the guy, this, ooh, you know. So we dated, everything was going fine. Everything that I thought was going fine. You know, sometimes we overlook things when we see the red flag because we want the guy to be the guy, but he wasn't the guy, but I wanted him to be the guy. At the age that I am now, sometimes we tend to rush because we feel like our fear for women, older women, is dying alone. Not having somebody that we can pour our love into before we pass away. And I wanted to have somebody that I could be forever with. The 54 years or the 20 years, or somebody I could talk to my daughters about, and so they could see what that man really is supposed to be to them. Because when I was growing up, truth be honest, I never had that. My parents died when I was 9. My brothers and sisters raised me. So that part of my life, I never had anybody that I could go to tell me what to expect in a man. So I grew up looking for love, and I thought that love was having a man. That was my definition of love. If I had a man, I'm loved. If I don't have a man, I'm not loved. That's how I felt. So now, through the relationship, I have learned some things through every relationship that I have had. And that's the purpose of when you're dating, is don't take yourself out because you get hurt. It's for you to learn yourself in the process. And sometimes in the process, we give up, we settle, or we just don't listen to the Holy Spirit telling us, you know, he ain't the one. You see them signs, girl. But then you go, but what if I can make him the one? I can work with him. You know, he ain't all that bad. He may have this, you know, but I can really get, you know, I can deal with that. You know, he may drink a lot, but I can deal with that, right? He may smoke a little bit, you know, I go on the other side, I can get through that, you know. He may have a woman on the side, but I'm the main woman.
Devil is a lie.
You know, I'm the main woman. So, you know, all of them, I'm the main one. I'm the one he got out. I'm the one that be seen with him. We settle. So, tonight, I want to tell you, through your dating stage for all the single women, and men take notes. Because all we want is somebody to love us like our Father is supposed to love us. That's what we look for. So when we find this man that's telling me my eyes are beautiful, and I love the way you talk, and he holds you, that's everything to us. We go off feel. How you make me feel. That's how you get a woman. If you make her feel like a princess and she knows that you make her feel like she's your everything, she's going to give you everything she got. She's going to be that queen. Now, I know when you talk and she get mad, what she say? I don't feel. You don't make me feel. always what she feels. So, ladies, men don't work on this, even though we want them to. We want them to feel like we want to feel. When we get mad at them, I just want to feel what I'm going through, right?
You right, huh?
I want him to feel what I feel. I'm going to hurt him to the core.
Yep.
You go walk out with another man,
Trying to make
yeah,
it jealous.
that hurt, don't it? That hurt, don't it?
Don't bother.
He like, what is she doing? It's stupid.
Right.
But you thinking you hurting them. All you doing is pushing them away. Men don't go by feelings. What did he say? I was taking care of the house. I paid the bill. That's his love language. Our love language is make us feel. So tonight, again, my favorite verse, Proverbs 31. The last couple months, I've been trying to find what that Proverbs 31 woman was. I wanted to know. Because you hear people talk about that verse all the time. That's the perfect woman. That's the woman you're supposed to be. You know, so I wanted to research that Proverbs 31 woman, what was so important about her. Even though she was married, as a single woman, we aspire to be that Proverbs 31 woman so we can get married. We wanted to be the perfect wife. We want to be it. We want to be that woman that no other woman can touch. When we walk, they pay attention. That's so-and-so wife. That's who we want to be. So, out of my research, I wrote a couple notes. And I wanted to share these with you guys, and hopefully it'll help some of the single women today that are struggling with why I can't find that guy. Why I can't find that one. What is it? Because I know I'm not the only one in here that feels like that.
You sure ain't.
You not. You should not.
So,
Yeah.
after I prayed about this, y'all. I got to deviate a little bit. Because yesterday I came home, I was upset. I got to tell y'all this. I was upset because last couple weeks I've been fighting with this. I had a dental procedure. I got 2 crowns. He opened up the crown, went too far. I had to get a root canal. After I got the root canal, I got TMJ. Now I can barely open my mouth. I have to force my mouth to eat. So yesterday they served Thanksgiving dinner and they had dressing and all that stuff. Chicken, all that food. I couldn't eat most of it. I got upset. I got upset because I wanted to enjoy myself. And when I got home, I broke down and started crying. Because I ain't have nobody to talk to tell. And I know some of y'all that are single, you get in those situations to where you just want somebody to come home to where you could tell about your day. If it sucked, and somebody to hold you and say, it's all right, baby, it's gonna be okay. I mean, you just had a bad day. And I got mad at God and I said, God, it don't supposed to be like this. I'm 46. 46. Why? And you hurt. And God told me, he said, when I prayed, because I went to him, and I went in my bathroom. My kids don't know this. I went in my bathroom and I sat on the toilet and I talked to God and I said, I know it's for a reason. And I know this is a lesson that I'm gonna teach somebody. Well, hurry up, God, come on. Hurry up. You know, hurry up. So don't get frustrated when you're struggling and you're going through. The Psalm 31 woman says, I'm going to read some things and then I'm going to try to explain it. Now, she didn't have to ask her husband permission to do anything. If you notice it, I want you to read that verse. She did everything. When a man looks for a woman, he wants independence. He don't want a woman where he have to tell everything to. He wants that independent woman. She has control over the finances and household. He wants you to know how to take care of your business, take care of his business. If he got to go somewhere, he want to make sure you got it right. He don't want to have to come home. He don't want to have to call and check his bank account and you done swiped it out. He want to depend on you. She works and she helps her husband pay the bills. Y'all see that? She helped her husband. I ain't working. That's the man's job. I ain't got to do that. That's his job. No. That's not his job. She's a helpmate. She helps him. She works, she cooks, she cleans, she supervises. She did everything. She made sure that house was spotless. Everybody that went to that house was like, woo, well. And she worked. She's known in the community. She's an activist and a philanthropist, which means that everybody loved her. She talked to people. She helped them understand what was going on. She was there in the community. She gave out stuff. She was all around. She respected her husband's position. She never made him feel bad. She never threw anything in his face. She never expected him to buy her anything. She showed him unconditional love. That's all a man wants. Right? You want that respect? You want her to say, right?